Too many believe that adventure is a constantly beautiful escape into the wild.
Catching a big old fish! Yeah, look at that!
We hate to destroy the illusion, but it's called the wild for a reason.
And was swinging around perfect storm style.
It is harsh and unforgiving, and more often than not,
Are you okay down there?
things go wrong.
The boat's okay, right? Oh, me? Oh, really, really wrong.
Are you kidding?
And here?
But adventure is what we live for.
And we're hopelessly addicted. We are just cruising around these little channels and
There's a big volcano up ahead.
huge volcano.
I'm Joey, and this is my wife, Kelsey. We left our successful careers behind to be pirates.
Well, not exactly pirates, but close enough.
Meet the pirate ship, the one-of-a-kind 50-foot sailboat we rescued.
And renovated.
What is in there?
The dream?
Sail over 2,000 miles from San Diego to Nicaragua.
Arrive alive, start a business in a developing country, and offer others the sailing adventure of a lifetime in a country we love.
Simple, right? Nothing worthwhile ever is.
We decided some time ago to create a motto that would guide us through life, that no matter how hard it got, we would remember what we hold most important in this one life we have. Our motto? If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. We're part of a large community of sailors, explorers, climbers, and those living day-to-day life on the edge, always searching for the extraordinary in the mundane and refusing to live a life not worth remembering. Some refer to us as crazy, unorthodox, and eccentric. We refer to ourselves as pirates. Pirates that prefer a rocking sea and a crowded cabin to a cubicle and quarterly reports. Pirates that trade comfort and security for adventure and the unknown.
Most people believe getting married is equivalent to settling down. But lucky for me, he loved me and kept me wild. We were fearless. Well, almost. One thing that scared us, terrified us to our very core, was the thought of waking up one morning and realizing that we forgot to live. Which is why after a year of doing the social norm, you know, the whole corporate world, ladder climbing, 9 to 5, that sort of thing, we escaped.
Of course, sailing 2,500 miles on the Pacific coast on the cusp of hurricane season with a relatively inexperienced crew is dangerous.
We're caught in a pretty big squall. All our sails just ripped off.
And to be honest, a little crazy.
To do the story justice, we have to start from the beginning.
Finally made it. I'm at the base almost of Elbrus. Everywhere you look around here, it's so pretty. And it's got this weird Russian vibe, which I love to it.
Together, we've lived in 4 countries and traveled the world side by side.
Touch him. I think I can poke his butt.
Before even the idea of sailing 2,500 miles of the Pacific Ocean popped into our minds, Joe and I got married in the Colorado Rockies. We took a 2-week honeymoon to Nicaragua and told ourselves we'd be back. And then he showed me this, a 50-foot pirate ship slowly rotting in San Diego. Our plan? Fix it up, sail it down to Nicaragua, and offer sailing charters. We thought, let's do everything from sunset cruises to offering surfers a wild multi-night adventure chasing outrageous surf breaks.
an outdoor adventure company that gives explorers a chance to get out on the water and discover the untouched Nicaraguan coast.
And that is how this wild ride began. There's just one problem. She's in San Diego, nearly 2,500 miles north of Nicaragua.
She needs a lot of work in order to come back to life.
Central America is going to have to wait. 6 months to be exact.
Meet Rollover, a name drowning in bad karma. Built in 1988 to circumnavigate the globe, Rollover has seen better days. Forgotten and neglected, we took on the challenge. We moved in, made her home, and are doing a complete renovation.
These lights, this one's wired in, the other one's not even wired in. I mean, I could be easy, but somebody cut it.
There's not a lot on Rollover that doesn't need at best renovating.
I've got no lights up here. The only light I've got is my mass light.
And at worst, removing and replacing.
Just took the goddamn radiator off.
How does it feel? Are you a little nervous?
No.
Everything has to be scrubbed, sanded, oiled, and from time to time chucked. Thanks largely in part to the harshness of salt water and my new worst enemy, corrosion, the list ahead is enormous. Intake hose going out. On top of it all, right when I'm in the middle of one project, you want to actually help me measure this thing? I'll stumble onto a more confusing, more annoying problem altogether.
A little frustrated right now, but could be worse. It's a cool project. It's exciting. Learning a lot. Bit of a battle, but hell, it's not an adventure till everything goes wrong. So it's starting to be an adventure.
Now, anyone who knows anything about renovating a boat knows it costs a pretty penny, which is why we're doing almost all of it ourselves.
Friday the 13th. Feels like a Friday the 13th. Had everything that can go wrong. Sometimes the project's so big that it can be a bit of a headache.
We're now plumbers.
What is in there?
And by we, I mean Joey.
We are replacing the old toilet line for a brand new white, perfect toilet line. Stuff like this sweet white lining that's like totally odor proof, and this isn't.
An electrician, a mechanic, a carpenter. You name it, this guy is doing it.
My biggest challenge? Taking apart a massive diesel engine and putting it back together. Moving on to the engine tomorrow. It's coming along. Still so much work, it's like terrifying.
Now, keep in mind, this guy is no mechanic.
After weeks grinding on this bad boy of an engine, the moment of truth has come. I've gotten everything on. I just filled her up. We're gonna try to start it.
Let's hear how this baby sounds.
Moment of truth. I found out fast that I needed some sort of Jedi helping me. And it just so happened, I found one. My Jedi? This guy. Mr. NASA. It's a long story, but I'll give you the quick version. After a successful career working for NASA, Steve retired, bought a yacht, and now lives aboard. This is a guy who got shot down in Vietnam flying helicopters and flew planes for oil companies all over the world and then worked for NASA for 20 years. I mean, his life read like a action thriller, like just ridiculous. Between swapping stories of the hell we'd raised, we became friends, and lucky for me, he became my boat mentor. The man's a genius. If something is broken, and I mean anything, he can tell me what broke, why it broke, and how to fix it. And here's a guy who had taken apart his entire 3-story yacht. 3 stories, boat shouldn't even be 3 stories, and his was. He'd taken the whole thing apart, put it back together, done the engine work, done the interior, I mean, everything on the boat looked cherry. It looked so good, and it was all a result of him. So for him to see me going at this old, beat-up, battered pirate ship, he was intrigued, and he was more than a little bit excited about getting involved in the project. As much as he would tell you he thought I was crazy, he would come and help me with anything I needed on the boat. He would guide me. I would go and climb down into this boat and crawl around in the bilge and spill my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. But his one rule was he wouldn't get his hands dirty. And for me, that was perfect. Like, I was so psyched about that agreement because, as he told me, there would be a time when I was out at open ocean and things would go horribly wrong and there would be no one to help. I needed to know my boat, and he was right.
It can't be all work and no play. I'm going to be leaving the pirate ship behind for a little while, take a break from renovating this bad boy, and let's go find a spot to do some yoga.
We are taking advantage of our time in Southern California.
We are in the middle of the San Diego, what is this? Harbor. San Diego Harbor with an old makeshift paddleboard thing that used to be a kite surfing board. I'm not sure, but we found it and it is now our little paddleboard slash kayak.
We are out on the pirate ship. This is also one of the first times that we've had the pirate ship out. Wanted to get some of the local surf boys out and get them out in the waves. The boys are up for an adventure. See you in a bit, brother. It's a hell of a day out here. Look at that!
Sometime between the countless hours of labor and being big kids, 6 months have come and gone.
Hurricane season is coming, so we need to wrap up this reno and set sail.
We just have one last thing to do, find a crew and find them fast. Next time on Jibe.
When you're getting a crew together, it has to be somebody that you're gonna kind of mesh with.
Which is what led us here to Santa Barbara.
We heard through a friend about these guys, so we drove the 4 hours north from San Diego to check them out.
Definitely not a bad business trip.
It's time to take off.
It's Monday about 4 o'clock and we're still here.
Or so I thought.
Welcome to Clash of the Coasts, a Surf Channel original series that pits two surf crews against each other in a series of challenges.